BaconBit, BaconBit, BaconBit.
Welcome, everyone, to the BaconBit for First Man with your first Man of Bacon sale.
Aw.
Because we're going to get rid of some of you. No, we went and saw First Man and decided to, because it was our number one anticipated of the fall/winter end of year.
Yes.
As we talked about in a previous episode. And so I invited myself to go with Kent. And we went and saw it.
Yeah, we did.
And so we're going to talk about the movie. The first little bit's going to be spoiler free, although can you really spoil this movie?
That's the weird thing about it. I mean, being a historic event, there is some news about the movie that there's some controversy a few months ago that maybe we can talk about that in the spoiler section or whatnot.
But Ken, you want to give the summary of First Man?
First Man is the story of Neil Armstrong and his voyage to the moon.
Played by
Ryan Gosling.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
You're saying that we made it to the moon?
Well, did we?
We landed on the moon!
Oh, actually, in the spoilers, I'll just spoil it now. Stanley Kubrick shows up, but they get a guy to play Stanley Kubrick, and they start filming the moon landing.
The fake moon landing?
That, at the ending, honestly, that was such a twist.
It was amazing.
It was crazy.
I actually was...
And then there was a giant, pillar, rectangle.
Yes,
pillar
that falls over.
How my brain works, because, someone was asking me... I talked to someone about the movie, and then someone else asked me about the movie and at work. And I was like, yeah, it was good. It was weird that they went all nude the whole time, though. But they were just trying to show the vulnerability of the astronauts in this situation. And it's just kind of weird to see a naked guy stand on the moon, though. You're like, aren't you cold? And so that's how the conversation goes when I start repeating.
This was a real conversation you had?
This was a conversation I had with coworkers because they were asking how the movie was, and I'd already kind of given my review to someone else. And so I was like, I'm going to spice it up this time.
Joel's nude reviews, everybody.
Family friendly?
Well, it's your reviews.
It's a standalone podcast.
But
I will
let's
subscribe.
Talk about the movie. So this is directed by Damien Chazelle, who did La La Land
and Whiplash.
Which, I mean, this is his third movie.
Yes.
He's only his third feature film.
Yes, and those two movies are two of the best movies in the past decade. Two of the best.
Really?
Yes.
You throw that out there?
I love
top 10 of the last decade?
Oh, let's not get crazy.
You said best.
But I will say this. La La Land was
two of the top 100 of the last 2.
Hear me out. La La Land was my number 1 for 2016, and Whiplash was my number 4 for 2014.
You know that off the top of your head?
Yep.
It's impressive.
Well, it's my OCD.
So yeah,
but what is that for 2018?
Damien Chazelle is directing, but then you get Ryan Gosling playing the main role, Claire Foy playing...
From The Crown.
From The Crown playing his wife. Really, that's the crux of it.
Yeah,
you get
Corey Stoll plays Buzz Aldrin as well for a short time.
Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights, he's in there.
Dependable Kyle Chandler in every movie.
Ethan Embry randomly.
Yeah,
if you don't know who Ethan Embry is, he's the main kid in Can't Hardly Wait.
And you won't recognize him.
Yeah. And he's also in, what other movies? That Thing You Do, he's in that movie as well.
Who's the always reliable guy that you said?
Oh, Kyle Chandler?
Who's that?
Friday Night Lights, the main guy in the TV show Friday Night Lights.
Oh, that guy.
You know him.
Yeah.
You'd
Super
see him
8.
and you'd be like, yeah,
Super 8.
Yeah, I watched Super 8 the other day.
So yeah, you like him. And obviously they're playing Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon. So that's kind of what the point of the movie is. But here's what I found interesting. Not giving my review yet, but just an interesting point of view, is that this movie isn't just about the moon landing. It's everything leading up to it, starting in 1961, and we landed on the move in 1969. So you see this whole progression of technology.
It's the danger that he faces, that astronauts face at that time. It was really an uncertain time, and also the family drama that goes into that.
Yeah.
And all the training you have to do, and how fragile life is, even when you've studied your whole life for something.
Well, and this movie made me never want to go into space once again.
Oh, now?
Well, because Gravity was never going out in space. And then this movie was I still don't want to go. Because this movie shows just how little separates you from certain death in space travel.
Yeah.
And claustrophobia as well.
Oh, definite claustrophobia. They did a great job of not showing you.
And just to tell you, Jake, much like let's say Apollo 13, you see the epic scope of the spacecrafts, right? You see them take off and everything, and it's glorious. This movie, most of what you see in this movie, even the moon, spoiler alert, takes place inside a tiny shuttle where they can't even move. You see it from the window. Inside.
You're inside the shuttle, claustrophobic almost any time, and the whole thing's rickety, shaking, and you're we're gonna die.
And I would say for some people being why do we need to see another astronaut movie? Why would they make this movie? The original perspective it gives is from inside the shuttle.
Well, let me point this out too. I'll start my review. Okay,
yes.
Because one of the things I thought this movie got right was that Neil Armstrong isn't the cool hotshot pilot. He isn't the best in his class. He isn't the guy who solves all the problems. He's just the man who's chosen for this mission. And he's just good at, he's good at what he does, but he's not like, the best of the best. Going to save the earth. Woo!
Right.
It's literally just Ryan Gosling. Okay, and here's where the movie, it's not the movie, but I learned something, Kent.
Okay.
Ryan Gosling plays detached loners very well.
I don't know what you're talking about, Joel.
Just think about his movies.
Does he play anything else?
Like Drive.
Are you saying that the fact that the driver played Neil Armstrong in this movie? Because I'm pretty sure he did.
Because every time he's just these detached characters.
Staring off into the distance.
That's what he does.
Really quiet.
He is strongest when he's not showing emotion, which is weird to say. But then in this movie, whenever he tries to show emotion, I'm like, we're getting there. But it just felt weird. So that was a little off-putting.
Okay.
So he's an android.
He very well could be in this movie. This movie, it is about the science and the technology behind taking a man to the moon, but it's also kind of centered around this emotional heart. It's orbiting, if you will, around this emotional heart.
Right. It has slices of life in every instance. It's like pool parties with the other astronauts and their families. Life at home in the kitchen, just sitting there in a quiet dinner, and then slice of life at NASA. Here's what we learn. Here's the stuff we go through.
In a pod.
Exactly. And so it just shows snippets of every little bit over the course of 8 years.
8 years building up to the thing.
That's cool.
So, okay.
Does it feel real?
Yes, it does feel real. There's obviously some stylized parts, but like Ken said, you don't get this like glory shot of them walking slow motion across the jetway, to the rocket.
Right.
You don't get the cool, awesome shot of the entire rocket flying through space. Everything is kind of very limited in scope. And it makes it feel much more realistic, like this is what it would have been like. It is 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
Yes, it is.
It does feel 2 hours and 20 minutes long, but there's a lot of story to cram in. Could they have tightened up some of that story?
Yes, they could have.
Sure. In fact, there's some parts at the beginning that I'm like, why are we focusing so much on this? Mm-hmm. But then there was a payoff near the end that I went, okay, that kind of justifies the journey.
Okay.
This was a strong movie. This is a well-made movie. This is an emotional movie. There weren't as many, wow, this is a great moment in cinema moments for me. There was one shot in particular that I went, that is impressive. Everything else, it could have been done by anyone else. I don't know if Damien Chazelle, I don't know if his flavor came through in this movie.
Okay.
Well, he hasn't really focused on the cinema side or the cinematography and these other works.
Out of his 3 movies, this is the first one he's done that he hasn't written. So this is him directing someone else's work.
Yeah.
Yes.
But overall, I was impressed. I think it was a solid movie. It's not one that I'm going to be watching continuously. Like I'm like, oh, like Gravity, I want to see again because I was just so thrilled by it. This definitely has some thrilling moments, but it has a lot of slower parts too. Still, though, solid movie. I give it 4 stars out of 5.
Nice.
Wow, it's really quite good.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. Like it's one that I think people should see because it makes you appreciate the brave people and the smart people who were able to do something so unimaginable.
And it's really interesting because everyone should see it because it's a comedy, apparently, as well. So we went and saw this movie. And by the way, there are just basic slice of life jokes, little vignettes.
Yeah, it's the humor is very subdued. It's more amusing than humorous. It's like these little lines.
And sometimes
they're it's just keeping it real.
Sometimes,
basically.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not even a joke. Someone will be at a funeral and someone will say, I've had a day. And then people in the audience will just bust up laughing. And I don't understand why.
No. So we had these 2 people sitting behind us. Okay. And at one point, I didn't talk to Ken almost the entire movie, but I had to leave over at one point and just say, I think the people behind us think that this is supposed to be a comedy.
The only 2 people in the crowd laughing uproariously.
And it was uproarious.
Inappropriate
like, okay,
moments.
So for example, there's a moment when a guy is sad and he leaves everyone else. Neil Armstrong, he's sad. He leaves everyone else, goes and stands in his backyard.
That's basically him the whole movie, though, right?
Yes.
And then someone else comes up to him and they're like, you got to go in there and be with your family. And he looks at him and he turns around to him and it's this very serious moment. Like he's dealing with some serious stuff. And he turns to him and he says, do you think that I came out here on the back porch so I could talk to people? Like kind of just giving him a kind of a...
And then this girl...
They bust a gut at
right
that line.
behind us. And they had their shoes off.
Did they?
No, I don't know, but probably.
But because if it was just the one time, I'd be like, okay, well, they just kind of were caught off guard by that line. but any little sign of somewhat of levity, they would burst up laughing. And they were the only ones in the entire theater who were doing it. And it got to the point where I was physically responding every time they did it.
This is Joel just shaking his head, rubbing his brow.
Like,
guys, I'm really sorry. I should probably confess. I sent them to sit behind you.
I knew it.
Just harass you.
Jake Spies.
It was the weirdest thing.
Okay, so on to my review.
Yes,
this is not a comedy, by the way. In fact, this movie is rather one note the entire 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It is. There's some moments of suspense.
Yes.
But most of the time you're kind of just riding along in this, okay, we're progressing, things are moving.
Procedural.
Ryan Gosling, miscast, honestly.
Really?
It should have been someone that maybe cared a little bit more. I don't know if he just wanted to play detached loner. And I love Ryan Gosling. And I think he excels at this kind of thing. But he didn't seem to be someone to actually care about his success. It seemed like they were playing down the heroism of Neil Armstrong in a big way. And I'm not even saying the American heroism. I'm just saying the fact that he was sacrificing all, it seemed like he was like, well, don't care about my family. Are we just... Oh, I mean, we'll get to spoilers soon. Okay. Let's just say this. Okay, so he was miscast. One note. It's pretty long. And there was shaky cam during dialogue. I understand using shaky cam in this movie because it meant to felt very natural in the 1960s.
Yeah.
But during dialogue, it really kind of annoys me, to be honest with you. And it's unnecessary here.
Okay.
They wanted it to feel more grainy, more natural. I get it. I didn't care for it. But this is a well-crafted movie. I have my issues that take this away from being an A movie.
So who would you cast?
This was meant to be an A movie. I'd have to think about it.
Gyllenhaal, probably.
John Hall?
Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, Gyllenhaal. Yeah, maybe. No, he doesn't really look like the guy. Well, Ryan Gosling and Gyllenhaal, they're on like the same level. But this is a well-crafted movie. There's some scenes in the beginning. There's some incredible scenes at the end, which really pulled it together for me when I was like, wow, finally it got to a really good place, but never great. This is a big disappointment for me, which is going to sound crazy when I give it a B+, because that's a great grade, but it is not the A.
I'm disappointed. B+.
I own his other two movies, Chazelle's other movies. I will never own this movie because I don't need to watch it really ever again.
But I think that everyone should see this movie at least once.
Watch it once.
But
definitely watch it once.
You don't need to
How's it going to do with the Oscars?
Honestly, this year sucks. It's going to do well.
I think Claire Foy could get a nomination.
And she should. Okay. Spoilers.
Okay.
Should we do spoilers?
Yes.
Let's hear a song, Joel.
Fine.
That's one small spoiler for man, one giant spoiler for mankind.
Had to think about what that line was.
No, because he pauses right there.
Because he actually messed up the line.
Well, actually, giant, the G gets cut off. It's like one giant leap for mankind.
It was Iant, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to spoil here. I will say
we landed on the moon.
Yeah, right?
Spoiler.
The emotional core and what this movie needed, and this is where I think Ryan Gosling really misstepped, and I think it was only due to flashbacks that gave this movie emotion, is his young daughter passes away at the beginning of the movie.
Right at the beginning.
It's a true story, and you feel it. He has two boys that he's like, but his daughter, he loves her. He cherishes her.
Well, and I feel like this is based on a true story, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they included the daughters passing away in this movie so that Ryan Gosling could play the detached loner the entire time and not
maybe
show
that was
emotion. Honestly, he's like, he doesn't show emotion even when he's trying to show emotion.
Yes.
It's kind of bizarre. Like, I'm glad you say miscast, because I was worried you were going to say he nailed it.
No, I totally don't think so. In fact, I think, and that's why I think maybe, even though she may not have been the best, I think Claire Foy did a good job because she had to carry the two of them together. Because when there were fights, she's the one that had to actually act.
Yeah, by the way, 2 F words in this movie. One of them by her.
Yeah.
And it's like...
The movies are?
No, it's PG-13.
It's the usage of the F word that makes it R.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're using it a certain way, it's an automatic R for one. But you can do 2 if you're just using it as an exclamation.
And everyone's nude, so it's not even R.
The whole time. No, but so she, to me, and then maybe that's why I think she may have not worked.
Okay.
Was because she had to put so much emotion in everything.
Yes.
That it felt melodramatic because he wasn't giving any emotion. So the chemistry between them together, I was like, I'm not quite into this. The story I liked. I liked the progression. I liked seeing how it seems so impossible. Like, you listen to them kind of talking about what they have to do. And you get point A to point Z, and you're like, how are they going to do that?
And you see his friends die in terrible accidents. And that's really the spoiler. And he's still kind of like unaffected because that's just part of the job.
No, he's just more regressed, more, less talkative. But yeah.
I don't know if you guys are talking me into seeing this, honestly.
But
sounds exhausting.
It is honestly, it's weird to say because we're kind of crapping on it, but it's such a well-made movie.
Well, because it shows the progression. It shows the journey of how we got to the moon. And then when we finally get to the moon, like I expected interstellar level of, are we going to be able to dock this thing or not?
Yeah, I wish.
And we kind of got that in the middle.
Yes.
But then at the end, when they're getting to the moon, first of all, I didn't know how the mechanics of detaching one part, attaching it to another, detaching another part, getting on the moon, having to attach that part, having it back in the thing.
Science.
That to me all was so...
It sounds complicated.
It was. And I was like, I had no idea. Like, you imagine it's like, okay, we're taking this rocket, we're launching it up, it's landing on the moon, then we're launching it back. And it's like, no, there's so many moving parts here that I didn't know. And it was cool to see that.
And here's what it does well. This is a true story. You know that Neil Armstrong survives this. There were scenes where I was just filled with tension.
Like, is he going to
make it?
How are they going to make this?
And it wasn't even the initial, that moon landing. It was stuff that happened before where I'm like, this is dangerous. What is he doing right now? I'm scared for him.
Yeah.
And so and that's what the movie does well. It puts you in that realm, in that time, to really watch this journey happen.
Well, in the one part, and once again, we're in the spoiler section, but the one shot that I went, that is impressive. Because the whole time you're in this claustrophobic, the classrooms and stuff like that, but then when you actually get in the shuttle, you're in this claustrophobic cockpit the whole time. And then they're trying to get out and go and walk on the moon. And he gets out, and when he takes that first step on the moon, the camera swings down and just shows you the point of view of standing on the moon and just seeing the vastness of space. And it was one of those moments that takes your breath away, like, oh, that is amazing.
And even it makes you feel, because he's standing on the platform for a while and not walking on the moon yet.
Because you realize you have no idea.
Yes.
Like, you could be stepping in quicksand. Yeah.
But
it could be
here's
Yellowstone, like a thin crust.
It puts you right in his shoes. It puts you into his hesitant space boots. And almost like he knows.
Space pants.
He knows he's about to do something no one else has done. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal.
It is. And it makes you, it really does kind of land that home of the gravity of how big of a deal this really was. And it made me, one of the reasons I loved it is because it brought so many questions to my mind. Just like, well, what phase was the moon in when they went on there? What was the temperature? You know, how many people have actually walked on the moon? Like, my brain started really kind of focusing in on the accomplishments and what it would be like to be on the planet.
Yes.
And then they bring home an emotional note, which I didn't expect and I really appreciated at the end.
Yeah.
Because he actually ends up bringing a piece of jewelry of his daughter's on the moon and lets it go into one of the craters. And like lets her be part of the moon. And I actually started getting emotional at that part. Like,
I mean, that's the moment.
Wow. Yeah. That was really well done. Because the whole time you're watching the daughter stuff, it's like...
Is that based off anything?
I'm not sure.
Actually, they say they don't know if he did or not.
It's like literary.
Yeah. They left a lot of junk up there. Oh, and there's also...
Don't call the American flag junk, Joel.
Well, there was a lot of controversy because they talked about how in an interview they said that they didn't include the planting of the American flag because they didn't want to focus on that. People were like, what? You didn't include America? America, it's all about America. Which I understand. Like, even Buzz Aldrin, who was there on the moon, said, I love my country, and posted pictures of him by the American flag on the moon. And so I didn't expect to see the American flag, but it's in the movie prominently. Like, they show people raising it at one point. It's on the patches, and then they show it on the moon planted.
It's there, but here's the thing: the focus is not on America's achievement against Russia. The focus is on, hey, here's a family life, and here's what NASA is trying to do. And they kind of downplay any sort of heroics.
And I actually read up on it, and apparently there were a lot of issues trying to get that flag up and working. And so it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this grand moment. Michael Bay kind of stabbing
like
in the ground,
Iwo Jima, like pushing it up.
Yeah, it wasn't like that at all. Apparently, there were some issues with the pole and everything, and so they choosing not to include it, I think, may have been a smart decision because they could have Hollywoodized it, but it wouldn't have been true.
Okay,
but I felt like it was an American accomplishment against Russia because you had that race, the space race, where it's like Russia did this before we did, and they're like,
So they cover Russia as well.
Just a little bit.
It's like just kind of they obviously trying to beat Russia, and then Russia beats us at a couple things, and it gets frustrating. But then we get to the moon first. USA.
But like you said, Joel, this is a movie that makes you want to hug your kids.
Oh yes, I wanted to hug my children when this was over. Just because you realize, just once again, the bravery of these people who went into space, and this is the weird part too, is that I just thought to myself, we got some dust from the moon, cool,
yeah.
But they almost died so many times. What did we get out of this?
Well, they talk about that in the movie, though.
And they do.
Yes.
So they kind of, and they even talk about how it's not as much as the rocks on the moon as it is the technology that we created and advanced that helped our society. NASA created all these amazing things that helped, life here on Earth, and just to get.
Isn't the microwave from that?
I believe there's a lot of different things they can attribute to NASA.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Yes. Let's say that.
But this is a good fall release. You will hear a little bit more about it around the Oscars. It's not going to sweep everything like I expected it to. It's not going to be my number one movie of the year like I wanted it to be either. It's really disappointing.
It probably is one of the better ones of the fall-winter, though, that I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's not much.
It's not much.
October seems like a strange release for this, honestly. I'd have thought they'd do
November. La La Land was
Jacob,
the same thing.
It's because of October Sky.
No.
What about November Rain?
What?
No.
Has nothing to do with Axl Rose.
The month after the other one.
Yeah. But no, I think Claire Foy will get an Academy Award nomination because she is angry and cries in a scene, and that's what they look for in Oscar season.
And she uses an American accent.
She has an American accent. Yeah. She's not glammed up. She's kind of ragged during a lot of the movie because her husband keeps risking his life and ditching her and the kids.
Right.
There's some good performances in here, but yeah, overall good movie.
Okay, so
good movie.
Joel, you gave it a 4
stars.
out of 5, which is on a grade rating. What, like a
I don't
minus?
convert anymore.
Like
You
a
know
B.
that, Jacob.
You don't do it anymore?
He's getting stubborn.
Because we talked about how our
It's like
ratings
a
are
B.
different.
It's a B.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I give it a B+, but
Which is how many stars?
it's B+. Like if you went to school and got a B+, which is good. It's a really good grade.
No, like grades are like the standard. You have to
We had
convert.
a whole episode about this.
It's a
Jacob.
conversion thing.
We had a
All right,
whole-
everyone. Thanks for listening to this week's Bacon Bit. Joel's nude reviews, everybody.
Family friendly?
Well, it's your reviews.
It's a standalone podcast.